Less than 18 months into a 5-year, $25 million deal, it looks like the Jack Campbell experiment is over. Here's Ryan Rishaug in Edmonton to talk about it. Ryan, do you think we're ever going to see Jack Campbell play another game in an Oilers uniform?
It's a fair question, Geno, because who would have thought that he'd be headed for the American Hockey League already? I think it's possible. It depends on what others do in his stead, right? So he's been sent down here, basically made the fall guy. The numbers dictate it. 4.5 goals against average, 873 save percentage, just simply not up to standard. So Stuart Skinner is going to continue to get starts, right? He represents partially the future in net here for the Edmonton Oilers. He'll continue to get a look. We'll see what they do. They've got two goaltenders in the minors. Both have decent numbers. Pickard has the more NHL experience. If he comes up and gets any kind of toehold and puts up any kind of numbers whatsoever, then that might be the end of Campbell for this year. The standard is, the bar has not been set very high for someone to come in and completely steal that spot for the rest of the season. So it's not out of the question that he comes back, Geno, if others fail. But as of right now, the door is wide open for anybody to do anything in net for the Oilers.
Do you think Skinner's up for it? Right now, he's been splitting the duties with Campbell, but do you think he's up for becoming the true number one right now?
Well, not right now. I mean, the confidence isn't there in his game. His numbers, 3.99 goals against average, 856 save percentage. I mean, it's been atrocious for him too, bottom line. He has not been good enough. So it's his second season, right? A lot of times we give a lot of forgiveness for forwards and defensemen who slump a little in their second season. Problem is when it's a goaltender and you're the last line of defense and the results are what they are, there's just no room for that. So I would say that, yeah, I think Stuart Skinner still has a bright future. I think there's lots of potential there. You know, I think he works hard and does the right things. He's going through one and he's in one. And as a second-year goalie in this league, should probably be insulated by somebody who can pick up the load. And he hasn't been so far. So if he has a goalie next to him that can take some of the pressure off, and it's not all on him, I could see him getting his game more in order than it is now.
Before we get caught saying, okay, this is all Campbell, and now that he's gone, the team is solved and they're going to turn this thing around, we all know that's not true. The axe fell on him, but he's not the only guy to blame at this situation right now, is it?
Yeah, it's a great point, Geno. Like, the list of people who are responsible for this situation is long. So where do you want to start? Maybe let's just start far up the organization, right? Ken Holland. I mean, the team is rammed up against the cap. They started the season short on players on their roster, and he's the one that signed Campbell. So the responsibility is lying squarely at his feet. No question about it. Jay Woodcroft. How many times are we going to do a scrum with Jay Woodcroft where he stands there and talks about how it's not a system problem, it's about too many individual mistakes? Just too many individual mistakes. Well, Geno, I ask you, whose responsibility is it to make sure there's accountability and that those mistakes stop? I would tell you it's the head coaches. Yet Evan Bouchard made probably the worst mistake we've seen this season last night. Didn't miss a shift. Jay Woodcroft has not been able to get any level of accountability out of these players. And so it lies squarely at his feet. By the way, the new defensive system that was going to make this team better defensively, been a train wreck. They're one of the worst teams in the league defensively. He broke it. He broke it.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's the system or the individual mistakes, it's broken. And then you got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. They are a shadow of what they normally are. 18th in points per game is Draisaitl. 27th. Connor McDavid is 27th in points per game this season. That's unfathomable. That will kill any coach. They have not been up to standard. The D haven't been up to standard. The goalies, the coach. This is on everybody, Geno.
All right, so our starting point was Jack Campbell between the pipes. Our end point is, well, everybody, but according to you, from management right through the coach, right through the staff. Okay, what's the next step? What do you do? Because it's one thing, to your point, you want to hold players accountable, but when you look down the bench and you've got nobody to play for the guy that you want to bench, your hands are somewhat tied. So what is the next step in fixing a situation where the Edmonton Oilers are currently 31st in the NHL?
Well, let's go at all three layers. For Ken Holland, you're looking for a fix. You're looking for somebody to bring in to shake things up, some sort of a trade, shake up the roster. I mean, the number of players that could be traded out of town with minimal effect is long on this roster right now. So I think you're looking to find a way within your cap restraints to shake things up. That's on his level. They just made a move on the goaltending front. That was something they could do to immediately shake things up. So you kind of check that box right there. Jay Woodcroft, I believe he needs to set a higher standard of accountability from within his lineup. So I agree with you. You can't go benching guys or healthy scratching guys. You don't have the players. But you know what you can do? You can skip over a guy for 3 straight shifts. Sends a message down the entire bench. Those players know. When all of a sudden Evan Bouchard is not played for 5 minutes, they know, and they know why. And the accountability level goes up. So for Jay Woodcroft, it's about setting the standard higher, no matter who it is. And then for the players, I mean, really, it's on them, right? You got to bear down and get these mistakes out of your game. You need to work harder, and you need to start holding each other more accountable and exercise the demons, man, because the demons are huge mistakes, and they're all making them. Geno, this team is a shadow of the one that was the best team in the National Hockey League, basically from the trade deadline in, and there's a lot of the same players on the roster. So go figure.
I think we'd all agree on one thing. Move number 1 was done by waiving Jack Campbell. And now, according to our Edmonton reporter, Ryan Rishaug, we're all just waiting for the next shoe to drop.
We'll see.